And what I want to talk about today, kind of before I get into everything, is I want to talk about, I've actually got a note here, what I wrote down. I want to talk about handling losses, right? And getting back up when you get knocked down. So, as you know, as people who are in the crypto space, right? As people who are in the crypto trading space, as I like to call it, because when you're dealing with crypto platforms, you really are dealing with crypto trading, right? And for those of us who are in that space, it's a reality that we're going to take losses. Okay, as a trader, as a forex trader, as a professional trader, I take losses all the time, right? I take losses every day. That's part of the program. That's part of the plan, right? It's all cooked into the sauce, right? It's all baked into the cake, right? Losses are a part of it, and losses are a part of it when it comes to crypto platforms as well. Now, the key is, and the trick is, and the hope is to get some profits locked in, right? So that you don't lose money, right? If the platform fails, or if the platform rug pulls, or if the platform goes away, if the traders blow the account, if something happens, because you never know what's going to happen with these crypto platforms that we're involved in. But what we can know for sure, and what I can promise you for sure, is that some of these are going to result in a loss. There's a promise. You want a promise? Some of these are not going to work out. There's a promise. I can promise you that. Right. So I'm not going to come on here and be like, oh yeah, this is every single one of these platforms is the best thing that God ever gave to the earth. I can't say that. That wouldn't be true. But if you if you do this right, right, if you play it correctly, then a person can make a lot of money in this space, and I can testify to that because that's what I'm doing. But there has to be a learning curve on handling the losses, learning how to get back up when you get knocked down, and basically developing emotional control and developing a certain amount of stoicism when it comes to trading, when it comes to crypto platforms, when it comes to any type of investing, right? Whether you're doing real estate investing, stock market investing, anything that you're putting out into the world and trying to get an ROI, right? Whether whatever type of investing that you're doing, right? I know people who do like a lot of good deeds and good works, and they are like very charitable people. And eventually that does come back, right? That you can't outgive God, right? So eventually, when you're a giving person, when you're when you're somebody who is packing things into the stream of life, you're helping people out, you're a positive person, that does tend to come back. And there's an ROI on that, right? But it doesn't always come immediately, right? And it doesn't always come in ways that you think that it's going to come, right? It's in fact, most of the time it doesn't. But with what we're doing, which by the way, I'm enjoying some of my Live Good organic coffee. So check out Live Good if you've not done that. Mm, it's hot. Okay, so let's say you have a loss, right? Now, a lot of times what'll happen, like take a crypto platform, for example, and you've gotten, you put a few $1,000s in it. I remember one time I had a platform that I had put like, I don't know, it was like 8,000 into it. It wasn't a huge sum of money, but it wasn't nothing either, right? It was about $8,000, and it was going, and I was making my seed money back, and I was compounding my profits. I was rocking with the platform. Things are going good, but I think and it did end up rug pulling, but by the time it rug pulled, I had made most of that back, but I still was not in profit, right? So I still experienced a loss, right? Now, it didn't really affect me that much because I am diversified, right? It didn't really affect me that much because I have a ton of platforms that I'm dealing with, right? So if one of them like, okay, so I lost, let's say, I don't know what it was. It was like $50, $80. It was a very, very, very minimal amount that I had almost made my seed money back when the thing just rug pulled. There was no warning, no nothing, right? It just one day it's there, the next day it's gone, or one day it's paying, the next day it's not paying, and that's how it is in this space, right? And that's what people need to recognize and need to realize when you're thinking about getting involved in the crypto platform space is you have to have a rotation, right? You got to have a rotation, right? That way, if one of them falls out of your rotation, guess what? You still have three or four or five or 10 or whatever more. right? It's just that's the way that it is. That's the way that it is in this space because there's no guarantees here. So diversification is important, right? If you have diversification, then you can, if you do have a loss here and there, it's not the end of the world, right? A lot of people lost out with Novatech. They had a whole ton of money into Novatech and they didn't, they didn't diversify. They didn't invest in anything else. And then, what happened, right? When the company stopped paying, a lot of people lost that money, right? Or if not lost, then the money's at least in limbo right now. They don't know, don't know where it's going to be. And you've got so there's the diversification piece. The other piece is the stoicism piece and the emotional control. Let me tell you something about numbers, okay? And I think this is the main thing that I wanted to get out. I've got I wanted to talk about this, and I'm not sure exactly how to put it into words, but I think this is the main thing that I want to get out. In this message is that numbers do not get emotional, right? Numbers do not get overly happy. Numbers do not get sad. Numbers do not get disappointed, right? Numbers do not make bad decisions because they're feeling like, they lost and they want to make something back. The numbers are the numbers. And what's important for me as a trader and as somebody who participates in crypto programs is to separate my emotions from what I'm doing, right? And I do that by focusing in on the numbers. I don't care if I lose, right? Losing is part of it, right? Losing a trade is fine. Losing a couple of trades, no problem. Losing out on a crypto platform, that's fine. Having a crypto platform rug pull, that's fine. It's all in the numbers. I've already worked it out. Right. And so that's why it's so important to have a strategy. That's why it's so important to work out your numbers when you're in this space so that you can say, hey, no matter what happens, I'm not going to be moved. I'm not going to be knocked down, right? I'm not going to be, disappointed, right? I'm not going to get angry, right? I'm not going to be in my emotions. I'm not going to be out making rash decisions because I'm trying to make back money. No, I sat down before I started and I got into the numbers. I made a plan. I got a spreadsheet out. I broke down how the numbers are going to work, how I'm going to minimize my losses, maximize my gains, where my stop loss is, where my take profit is, how it's all going to work before I do it, right? And then my potential profits. And I look at the numbers. I don't care if I lose one day. I don't care if I lose in a week, right? I don't care if I have three crypto platforms that rug pull all at the same time. That's all part of the plan because I thought ahead, I planned it out, I broke it down, and I'm living by the numbers. I'm living by the percentages. I'm living by the probabilities. I'm not living by my emotions. I don't need to feel good. I don't need to feel bad. I don't need to feel anything. I need the numbers to check out and I need the numbers to work out. And then if the feelings come later, that's great. Okay, that's wonderful. But I'm not in it for the feelings. Okay, guys, quick, just a quick little teaching there is that you know it says in the Bible that he who controls his spirit is better than somebody who takes over an entire city, right? What does that mean? That means the person who knows how to control their emotions has a huge advantage in life, in all areas of life, right? Stay icy, stay cold, right? Emotional control, right? You're not going to react over every single situation, right? Now I've learned this the hard way, guys. I've had this, I've had this. Believe me, I've had this drilled into my mind, right? I've gotten knocked down enough times that I know that hey, this was something that I needed in my life, and for the things that I couldn't do on my own, I prayed about it. I sought God for deliverance, for just to help me, right? Because there's some certain areas I know that I'm not going to be able to help myself, right? So I'm asking for your help, right? And That's part of the 12-step program, admitting you're powerless, come to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him, right? That's all part of the steps of recovery, right? And so sometimes hardcore emotion can be like an addiction, right? It's like something that you keep feeding and you don't know why. It's not helping you, right? It's not making your life any better, but you keep feeding it and feeding it and feeding it anyway. It's a vicious cycle, right? And so breaking that cycle has been a huge important thing in my life. And frankly, if you're going to be an investor, if you're going to be dealing with crypto programs, if you're going to be dealing with crypto trading, if you're going to be dealing with trading in general, you got to learn how to control your and put your emotions aside and look at the numbers, right? We're not looking at the feelings, we're looking at the numbers. Either the numbers work or they don't. Either it adds up or it doesn't. It's really as simple as that. And that's the beautiful thing about the numbers. Hey, either it adds up or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, guess what? You can go back and fix it. You can create a formula, right, that does add up, right? You can create something that is going to work, right? And the emotions got nothing to do with it, right? But in this space, if you lose a trade, if you lose a crypto platform, if you have any type of quote unquote failure, you have to understand that that's part of the process, right? Nobody has a 100% track record, not even Warren Buffett, right? Not even George Soros, the famous Forex trader. Nobody has an impeccable, perfect track record. Everybody has losses. It's how you handle the losses, right? And it's how you hedge your bets, right? It's how you put in your stop loss, you put in your take profit. All of these things are super, super important. And a lot of times as traders, we know these things in our head, so we don't talk about it a whole lot. Like as a Forex trader, I don't harp on this probably as much as I should. But in the crypto space and dealing with the crypto platforms, it would be super important and it would be super beneficial for a lot of folks, right? If we could learn this thing about emotional control, playing it by the numbers, understanding that there's going to be losses, right? Not everything is going to be, sunshine and rainbows, right? We're going to take some hits. And anybody who does anything in life has to take hits, right? If you're going to move forward in life at all, you got to be willing to take the hit. You got to be willing to get knocked down. You got to be willing to take a risk. You got to be willing to step out and take a risk, or you're not going to have anything, right? You're going to be life is just going to be passing you by. You got to be willing to take a hit, right? It doesn't feel good, right? And that's the whole point. It's learning how to deal with it when it doesn't quote unquote feel good. Hey, maybe it doesn't feel good, but I'm not living by my feelings. I'm doing this by the numbers. I'm not here because of my feelings. I'm here because of the numbers. And at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, I know that the numbers are going to add up because I sat down and formulated a plan before I even started.